Guys, it's your girl Maya. All right, just starting at the end. We're going to go straight into chapter 2. Chapter 2, Your Own Personal Reaper. So now what? You're standing in your office at home. From the floor below comes a rumble of conversation perforated by the clink of of polite cutlery. I'm so sorry, guys. 1 second. Sorry, I just had to aggressively clear my throat. You're standing in your office at home. From the floor below comes the rumble of conversation, perforated by the clink of polite cutlery on fine china. The Grim Reaper is sitting. No, the Grim Reaper is slouching in an armchair by the bookcase that decorates a quarter of the room with every worthy book you have ever discovered. He has said nothing since you left the cemetery in what felt like the blink of an eye, and you have finally grown tired of waiting. Tired because I have no idea what's going on. I'm not even going to read the other things because literally I have no idea what's going on. Okay. The Grim Reaper turns his hidden face to stare you down, and some of your resolve breaks. You sink to the floor, but you cannot feel it beneath you. You exist within this room, but not as a part of it, and though you are unable to touch the objects and the boundaries of your study, you are also unable to leave it. This is the room in which you died, the Grim Reaper explains without waiting for you to ask. I don't have an office. How can I die in my office? Okay, anyway. You've come back here to haunt it until you learn to accept your fate and take my hand. But I tried to take your hand, you protest. It's not my fault it didn't work. You aren't ready to leave, he groans. Your kind is never ready. Are you going to explain what's happening? You demand, rapidly losing patience with your cryptic companion and your thus far unexplained predicament. Are you really the Grim Reaper? The figure beneath the hood gives a hollow chuckle and lets go of his scythe, which disappears as soon as it leaves his desiccated fingers. I'm a Grim Reaper, he replies, grim being the operative word right now. You stare him down defiantly, waiting for an elaboration. I get it. He grabs each of the armrests of his chair and pulls himself out of his slump. Then he leans forward with his elbows on his knees, his hands clasped, returning your stare. All right, he sighs with the air of an office worker booting up his computer at 9 a.m. What exactly do you want to know? What? I want to know everything. Well, obviously, can you explain what's happening? What do you mean when you say, I want to know what you mean when you said my kind. I meant humans. Death laughs sardonically. There are none so terrible at accepting their fate as your kind. So dogs and cats get the Grim Reaper too, do they? You ask. Yes. I was kidding. I'm not, the Reaper retorts indignantly, and they're much better at it than you. I could have taken over 10 in the time we've been having this conversation. I'm just going to say rude because that's what I would say. To compare you to a dog is rude? For the dog, perhaps. Ah! As I said, they're better at this than you are. Can you explain what's happening? What exactly are you? I get what he is. He said I'm haunting this room of my ghost. I'm not ready for that. Why can't I go downstairs? Why couldn't I take your hand? I don't have anything else to ask. I guess, can you explain what's happening? The Grim Reaper considers your question for a long time before commencing. To understand that you need to know... Whoa, I messed that up. To understand that, you need to know two things, he lectures in imitation of a college professor. The first is that death happens in stages, and the second is that while it is inexorable, it is still a choice. You hold off contesting the paradox, and he continues. Put simply, your body dies and the rest of you has to move on. To do this, a reaper such as myself will take you by the hand and guide you to the other side. He drops the teacher act and says very seriously, but you have to want it. It is all about intent. This is all you are now, an intention. Whew. What does that mean? So if I don't want to go with you, then you can't make me, so I can do anything I want. I'm going to say so I can do anything I want. And take a drink of Coke because my freaking throat. The Grim Reaper sighs. Not exactly. You can't do anything you want, but you definitely can't do anything you don't want. What exactly are you? Or you said you. Why can't I go downstairs? Why can't I go downstairs? Somehow you know that the Reaper's eyes have narrowed as he hisses. Why? I want to know who came to my funeral. I want to make sure my wife is okay. I want to know how all this happened. I don't like being stuck in here, or I'm just wondering. I want to know how all this happened. You won't find that out down there. Better to put it from your mind. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to take my hand. He sits back in the chair. You can't leave this room because this is where you died and this is where you were haunting. If you died downstairs, we'd be downstairs. And you can't tell me how I died? You check? He shakes his head. No. You said I'm haunting this room. Am I a ghost? If you like, he replies. Would it change your mind about taking my hand if you thought that you were? That's not an answer. No, it's not. And neither was yours to my question. If it makes you feel better to think of yourself as a ghost, then feel free to be a ghost. It makes no difference to me. Then he looks over to the window and adds nonchalantly, though if I were in your position, I'd be less concerned with trying to package my ideas into preconceived boxes and more with keeping an open mind. What exactly are you? I'm a Grim Reaper, as your kind so fondly has dubbed me. I appear to those who have passed in order to guide them to the other side, to show them the door to what lies beyond the veil of life, and so forth. He sits back in a chair and turns his skeletal hand over as if inspecting a manicure. The gesture provokes your notice of an inconsistency in the situation. There's something about this picture that doesn't make sense, and you're surprised you don't spot it sooner. Hang on, you ask. How do you know what you look like? Sorry. How do I know what you look like? What do you mean? The Reaper asks, bemused, not taking his eyes from his hand. I mean the hooded skeleton with a scythe. If you only appear to the dead, then how does everyone know it's you? Or how does everyone know you? He chuckles, for the first time with a trace of genuine mirth. Very clever. Although I think you have it the wrong way round. You furrow your brow and he is patient, even enjoying your attempt to figure it out. The wrong way round. Is that a trick question? I'm going to say, is that a trick question? I like a lot of these, but that one. Okay. He turns to fix you dead in the eye, or at least you assume that's what's happening beneath his hood. It wasn't a question, and it isn't a trick, he says flatly. Try again. Consider my reason for being here. To take me to the other side. Yes, and in order to do that, I need for you to know what you are, you finish for him. Comprehension dawning. I was going to say trust me, but that works too. So the reason you look like the Grim Reaper is because I'm expecting the Grim Reaper. And maybe you aren't going to be so tedious after all. Why couldn't I take your hand? The Reaper groans. Because you aren't ready. I was, you try to protest, but he interrupts you once again, this time with definite impatience. Oh, well, in that case, I guess we're on the other side, and I know nothing about my own job. Thank you for being here to guide me. I don't have anything else to ask. Oh my god, seriously? The Grim Reaper seems glad of the respite, and so for a while you only watch him, hidden beneath his hood. Then a thought occurs to you, and you ask, you look this way in order to put me at ease. Does that mean you could look like something else? Silence precedes a guarded response. If it would help, he says very slowly, I could appear differently, yes. Although I reserve the right to refuse a form if I think it would be detrimental to what we're trying to achieve here. You stare at the Grim Reaper in awe. Your own personal death, customized to your specific tastes. If you're going to be spending all of your time with this apparition, perhaps it would suit you to have him as something else. A hooded Grim might have been familiar at first, but now that you know a little bit more about him, you can think of several alternatives. Death is just one of many psychopomps, guardians of the dead who guide the departed to the afterlife. You could have yours appear as a different mythical figure, or a famous face, or perhaps a relative or loved one. He needn't even be male. Come to think of it, you have no idea if the being under that hood even has a gender. So what'll it be? Take a drink of my Coke. Death from another culture, from someone famous. Oh, an interpretation of death from another culture. There are a myriad of different psychopomps from all around the globe, and unfortunately you are well read enough to know a few. Which psychopomp would you like to be your guide to the other side? Okay. Ooh, definitely Brynhildr, I think that's how you say it, of Valkyrie, who accompanied fallen warriors to Valhalla. I don't even need to read the other ones, but there they are. Ooh, there's a lot. Ooh. There's so many. Okay, so I have chosen Brynhildr. The Grim Reaper lowers his hood to reveal a shining helm of bronze adorning the wild red hair of a fierce woman. Cool! Battle-scarred, armor gleams as the cloak falls away, and you find yourself before the most powerful feminine figure you have ever encountered. She rises to her feet and holds out a now gauntlet-clad hand. A long spear thuds into being in her grasp. The warrior, whose weapon is smeared with the blood of some fallen foe, looks down on you and says with a deep and commanding voice, "This I can work with." Are you happy with this form for your Grim Reaper? Yes, Brynhildr works for me. Perfect, she nods. Now, are we all done with this Perfect, she nods. Now, are we done with the character customization part of this experience? There's one more thing, you point out. If we're going to be spending so much time together, hopefully not that long, but go on. Well, I was wondering what I should call you. The Grim Reaper takes pause. You wonder if she's ever been asked that question before. She looks down at herself and then back to you with a shrug. Well, I usually go by the Grim Reaper, but I suppose you can call me whatever you like. 1 second. Sorry, my bro called. Anyway, you can still read how she feels about the concept, but she's not rejecting it. So, how would you like to refer to your new companion? Death, Grim, Brynhildr, Hilda, Miss B. I guess Hilda is fine. I mean, there's a I want to call her ... thing, but I'm not feeling very creative today, so I'm just going to call her Hilda. Whatever works for you, Hilda sighs, looking over your handiwork. She looks really quite spectacular, though not necessarily immediately relatable. This form reminds you of the true nature of being in front of you, so far as you understand it. She is ancient and powerful, and you would do well to respect that. Hilda looks indifferent to your final decision. Well then, if you're satisfied, perhaps we can move on to the problem at hand. You have to admit that was a little fun. You write sorry for the distraction. I'm gonna say you have to admit that was a little fun. Hilda's face is unreadable, but before she replies, the conversation is interrupted by the opening of the door. Your heart catches in your chest at the sight of the intruder as she enters, catches and breaks. Your true love stands in the doorway and you are undone. For a fleeting moment you are not in your office. You are standing beneath a bright sun at the corner of a cobbled promenade. A sweet scent wafts over you, the warmth of coffee is seeping into your clothes, and a young woman desperately stutters an apology. You can't even remember what she said. You're too busy gazing at... the book in her bag. Not even so much as her outward appearance, it has always been your love's mind that has truly captured your heart. The book she reads, the songs she sings, they all paint the portrait that you now see in the doorway, evoking in you a response unlike anything you have felt yet. 1,000 emotions rush to the surface, and you are compelled into action without control. Cry out in rage and despair. Full force of your reality strikes like 1,000 knives into your chest. Your body fills with an uncontrollable rage. Your mind lets go, and you sink to your knees. The wail that erupts would shake the soul of the bravest, and yet, no matter how hard you expel your ire, your love does not even blink. Okay, so this video's gotten pretty lengthy, so I'm going to stop it there, and continue on in another video. This is really cool. I'm liking this. I hope you guys are enjoying, so see you in a second. Bye-bye.